Last season I did a test ride on the 2010 Polaris Sportsman 400 HO. That was a really difficult test ride to do for a couple reasons. First, that bike's overall small size makes it difficult to recommend to anybody but a woman or a really small dude. And second, at that point in the season, I'd already seen all the new 2011 bikes and knew Polaris had a bigger, more capable version of the Sportsman 400 on the way. Today, I get the easy job of testing this all-new, bigger, and badder Sportsman 400. Still a great bike for a smaller rider, but now just as well suited to a full-grown man. The guts of this ATV aren't really any different than last year. It's still powered by the same 455cc high-output single-cylinder engine. Power is still transferred through one of Polaris's stellar CVT transmissions, and it still features true, shiftable, on-demand 4x4. What is different is the simple dimensions of the vehicle. Back in the day, the 400 Sportsman was a full-size ATV, but at that time its 400 motor was pretty punched and made the overall vehicle a yawn to ride. Polaris decided to spice things up a bit by downsizing the 400 Sportsman into a Hawkeye-based chassis, whose smaller size and lighter weight made the whole ATV feel more impressive. The final step for that ATV was to upgrade the 400 engine to a 455cc HO unit that turned the little Sportsman into a veritable rocket ship. This isn't an 800, so don't hold your breath for wheelie-popping, power-sliding action. But as a 400, this ATV is amazing. Top speed is in the 50-mile-per-hour range, and bottom-end grunt is more than adequate for any situation I could get myself into. The chassis itself is the same overall setup as the 500 HO and 800 Sportsmans, with the older-style McPherson struts up front and fully independent rear end. And this full-size suspension system yields impressive full-size suspension numbers, with 8.2 inches of travel up front and 9.5 inches out back. A further added benefit of the larger chassis is a drastic increase in ground clearance to 11.25 inches. Once this ATV gets rolling, it's pretty hard to tell it's not a full-on Sportsman 500. It looks the same, it feels the same, all the controls and ergonomics are the same, and this is a good thing, because the Sportsman 500 is one of the easiest to ride and most comfortable ATVs in the entire industry. Among all this powerful and smooth riding goodness is one glaringly obvious negative point I think could be fixed fairly easily, and that's the lack of EFI with this power plant. Most of the competitors in this class do boast EFI, and while the Sportsman's 400 motor is a good running mill that starts fairly well even when cold, remembering to actually use the choke is no longer second nature. In the old days, looking for a choke was a given. Not finding one was weird. Nowadays, with EFI being so common, I find myself cranking this ATV over forever wondering why it won't start before the old brain kicks in, and I remember to give the choke a try. The 400 Sportsman is classified as a value ATV and is truly the best value in the 400 class. Excluding EFI obviously keeps the MSRP down, but I think adding EFI to this motor would be a fairly cost-effective upgrade that every 400 class buyer would appreciate and be willing to shell out a few extra dollars for. The rest of this new Sportsman certainly lives up to the reputation for durability we've come to expect from Polaris. Plastic racks are tough and feature lots of tie-down anchor points. Lighting is powerful and effective. All the switch gear is easy to find and easy to use. Of course, other notable Polaris features like full running boards and a slick shifting transmission are found here as well. And this brings up another important upgrade feature found on the new Sportsman 400. The small version had a forward neutral reverse transmission that lacked low range. The full-size 400 gets the full-size transmission that does include low range. And on a vehicle of this size, this is a big deal. Larger ATVs with smaller displacement motors benefit the most from low range because they're inherently down on torque. Being able to gear down to low range means you can still get all the low-end grunt you need to haul or tow heavy loads without overstressing your drivetrain or overheating your motor. And this talk about heat brings me to yet another notable change on the 2011 Sportsman 400. This chassis was known to have issues with radiator clogging in extra muddy conditions in the past. So this year, Polaris has moved the rad up 3 inches and angled it back to help prevent mud buildup. So far, our testing has shown that it works, and it's an effective solution to the rad clogging problems of the past. So, what's our final thought on the all-new 2011 Sportsman 400 HO? That's easy. This is the 400 class ATV to own. Features, size, capability, and of course price, only $55.99 suggested retail, put this ATV at the top of the heap on all counts.